What's going on? This is going to be a loud one. I will warn you right now. It's Kevin Kenny, and this is our final build of the day, and we've saved the best for last. Don't tell any other guests I just said that. Our guest today, or our guest right now, I should say, holds the record for the longest-running Billboard Hot 100 #1 hit of all time by a female rapper, and she has made her triumphant return this summer with her new EP, Survive the Summer. How loud can we make it for Miss IGGY herself, Iggy Azalea? That sound can only mean one thing. Iggy Azalea is joining us.
Hi, I'm here. I joined like 2 minutes, 30 seconds ago. So.
Exactly. Well, now you're spoiling it. The magic of whatever the heck we do down here. You're revealing all our secrets,
Sorry.
Iggy. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah. Are you good? Because you were telling me, you were at the VMAs last night, and you had
too much fun.
You had quite a good time.
I did.
What kind of a good time were you having at the VMAs?
The kind where you go to sleep at 6:30 in the morning.
Wow. That is less than 12 hours ago. You were a champion.
Yeah,
And you're probably running around the whole day.
Yeah, I woke up at 9.
Yeah.
It's been a short sleep.
Do you like going to these award show kind of things?
I do, but I don't. I really like seeing everything live and seeing all the performances, and I like seeing people that I know and that I haven't seen in probably a long time because everybody's on the road all the time. So it's kind of like high school reunion a little bit, and you get to see your friends you haven't seen in ages. But I also feel awkward and weird on the like red carpet, even though I love dressing up. There's that part of it that gives you a bit of anxiousness. So
Yeah.
I have mixed feelings about it.
Yeah.
But
who'd you
I like
catch up
it.
with last night that you hadn't seen in a while?
Jennifer, actually. I hadn't seen Jennifer Lopez in maybe like 2 years. Time flies.
Since the video? Is that probably the last
I
time?
saw her after the video, after we did for her collaboration, because we performed on stage at a lot of different places together throughout the summer and stuff, but I hadn't really seen her since 2015.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good to catch up with her. And
When
see
you make
her.
a video like that with somebody, there's got to be a bond there, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Remember we did
bond.
that thing? That's cool, though.
We
And
touch butts. We're connected. Forever.
I always joke, though, when you go to these award shows, it's kind of like the greatest music festival there is, because it's just like big act after big act, and, there's drinks there, and
And there's a really good budget.
Yes.
The performances are like...
You can do a lot.
Yeah, you can do a lot.
But I always
more
think
than even a festival.
Yeah, totally.
So it's cool.
It is funny, though, I'm never on the side that you are. I'm usually talking to people like you at these things. But it is a little weird, you go there and the million photographs are being taken of you, and you got to make the right look, and is it going to come out okay?
Weird. Do I dance? Do I not dance?
Yeah.
Do I like this? How much am I supposed? It's like, there's a lot of weirdness.
Things to think about.
Yes.
All right, well, things to talk about. I want to talk about this right here. Survive the Summer is out, and people are enjoying it, are we? Right? Yeah. First things first, whose hands are those?
My friend Alejandra, she's my best friend, and they're her hands.
Okay, and does she won a contest or?
No.
She was chosen?
I think she's actually being punished for something she did in another life because she's got to deal with me every day. She's my best friend, and I'm just probably hell to deal with because I always want to do random crazy stuff at the last minute, and she just sort of has to roll with the punches, so she's good at that.
Yeah, she's a trooper for sure.
She's a trooper, good best friend.
Is that the most popular question about the album artwork?
Whose hands?
Yeah.
I have got asked that a lot. A lot of people think it's a man's hands.
Don't tell,
and it's funny
don't tell her that.
She has some of the nicest hands, I think. That's
Those
why
are
I wanted...
beautiful hands.
Yeah, but I didn't intend on actually having someone's hands there. I didn't really know what I was doing. I don't know.
Hey,
I was
we
in
need
my
this in
backyard.
stores. We need to put hands there.
It just seemed right graphically. I'm like, I don't know. I'm psycho about like visual things and making sure space is filled up right. And I don't know. It just seemed like the answer to the problem that we were having that day. And I don't really like in pictures, not because I have an issue with it, just because I'm psycho. When women have to hold their breasts, I just think it's not the best, most aesthetically pleasing pose. Because it's so rigid, you know what I mean? So it's like, but you also can't show breasts because it would be, then it would have blurred across it, and that would be even worse aesthetically. So it's like, how do I don't know, find ways to strategically not have breasts? And this is one of them.
There you go. That fine line between the rigid and the...
Yeah, you still want to give graphic shapes with your body, but you
Right.
don't, I don't want to be like
Well, on an overall scale, because I know you are very diligent about the artwork and just how you're presented, and I appreciate that about you as an artist. Where did the concept for the artwork, aside from the hands and all the jokes, come about?
I don't know. I just got really into looking at like it's funny because it kind of looks like this, but it doesn't. Like Italian like widows. And the way they like dress with their veils and black, but they're
That'd
still.
Be interesting Pinterest
they
page.
look very like Vogue still, unintentionally. They're very like high fashion almost, and I just really liked the pictures of them, and I liked that kind of like gothic looking thing. I guess because for me, this project was sort of like saying goodbye to a lot of the things that people felt like were familiar with me, but also almost like a resurgence of my old self or style that that people are familiar with or that I was familiar with. So it was like a death and a life in the same project, if that makes sense. So that's why I wanted it to kind of like touch on that visually, which I don't know, it kind of does. It's like a rap version of a funeral.
A rap version of a funeral.
Yeah.
She said it herself. Well, I think it lines up with what we got from you sonically on this project,
Yes.
because it is a return to your roots, like pre-pop fame, if you will.
Yes.
I was a big fan of your 2016 single Team.
Thank you.
And I still am a fan of that record.
I am too.
This is.
I'm not a fan of everything because sometimes I put things out and then a year later I'm like, I hate it.
No, Team.
That's with
up.
everything. That's with everything that you do. But I still love Team.
Yeah, that's going to be, I think, one of those songs that the fandoms of the world will talk about. A hidden bop.
I hope so.
It's
Yeah,
a hidden
underrated
classic.
bops.
Yeah,
I hope
absolutely.
it's an underrated bop.
But this is definitely darker sonically, a bit heavier,
Yes,
a bit more brooding.
yes.
Why that direction?
Because that's just what I naturally want to make, honestly. I do really like making pop over cross like rap things, but I think if I had to pick a sound sonically that really like represents me, I'm an aggressive, blunt, very like brash person. And it's more like this than it is like Switch or those other things. Even though just as a songwriter, I like to experiment. So I like to experiment in those other lanes. No one ever made me make pop music. I made pop music, or I experiment with those lighter sounds because I'm a creative person and I like to do that. But if I had to pick something that like overall identifies me or my sound with my personality, I think people had kind of come to identify that as maybe like the fancy or Charlie XCX type recipe, and that's not really, I think, accurate. This is more accurate. So I just really wanted to give a project that was cohesive, that could, I don't know, I guess I hate the word rebrand because that seems so like inauthentic.
Yeah, but this isn't
It
a
really
rebranding,
that.
I don't
No, it
think.
isn't.
Yeah,
It's
I don't-
more
I don't
just
think we
like
should
a
use that word.
like correction.
Yeah.
This is the actual right.
Well, let me try
thing,
to find the words
If that makes
because
sense. Yeah.
Drake just did this freestyle and I thought of you. He was doing a behind the bars thing that is big over in the UK, and he said, "I got way too big off views. Now it's back to the basics, back to the tunes." Do you feel like you got too big too fast, and it kind of became something that you never, not that you didn't want, but something that maybe you weren't?
Yeah, I think I definitely became something I wasn't, or I'd like to think I wasn't, because it got very negative.
Right.
I don't think that I am like those things that people thought. I think you just, I don't know. Can you get too big too fast? I don't know. I just think you're not in control of fame at all, or any of those things that involve public perception, and it's just hard to have a crash course with that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I'm happy where I am now. I don't really think about that too much.
No, of course. There's a tremendous feature in Billboard magazine earlier this year on you. One of the best pieces I've ever read on any artist.
Oh, thank you.
And we learned so much about you. And I think it's not so. We shouldn't focus on the negativity of maybe the past couple of years. I think
Yeah.
we should champion your
Thank you.
resiliency through it all, because you have faced. The reason I asked you the question about did you get too big too fast is because when that does happen, the narrative is stripped away from your control,
Yeah.
and then you're answering all these questions. There's always misunderstandings. Of course, you've been open about the regrets. Is there like one prevailing thing you wish you could take back
Not really.
because you learned from it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think it's such a like morbid thing to think like, I wish I could take that thing back. I don't know. I don't really wish I could take anything back. Even though I look at things in retrospect and I have my like remorse of things I could have said better or opinions that have changed, or just things that you realize when you get older. But I think it's unhealthy to regret anything. It's just not a functional way to exist. So I just try not to think about that. I can't change anything, so why spend time dwelling on that? It just is what it is, and you just have to be resilient and move forward and accept that you can't control everything, and I can't control people's perception. I can only enjoy my own life and enjoy creating what I can control in my art, and that's it. Like, I just don't really think about that.
Have you always had, because I think that's amazing, you know, to stay so positive and remain so positive. Is that just you since you were a kid?
No, I think it's me now. I think the situation being so out of control forced me to have to look at it that way, because in the beginning there was a lot of blame. I think that I placed on other people or the world for why I'm in this situation, and then almost like a complete reversal in that of, oh, it's me, it's my fault. No, it was me, and it's like, you know what? It's actually just it's neither of those things. It just is, and that's life. Like, it's unhealthy to victimize yourself, and it's also unhealthy to blame yourself. You just have to have a balance of being accountable and not sensationalizing your life or what's like going on around you. I try to just like stay grounded in that and just focus on what is my reality and what I can control in this moment, and not really pondered that too much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, there were some highs, too, on this journey. And one I want to ask you about is, of course, I alluded to at the top, the longest reigning #1 in the history of the Billboard charts by a female rapper, of course. That's Fancy with you and Charlie XCX. When you make a song like that with somebody, because it's one thing to have this global smash with yourself, what is the bond like with an artist like Charlie? Is it like almost like having a kid, you know, this thing that's always going to be there, it's always going to be in the world?
Fancy, my kid?
Yeah. Is it like giving birth with Charlie to Fancy? What is that
didn't
like?
give birth to Charlie. I mean, if anything,
with
she's
Charlie.
like the
She
father.
helped out.
Yeah, she's the father. I'm the mother. We're parents, I guess. Yeah, I could see how you would think that. I've never thought of it like that. I don't know. I don't really think about Fancy too much as a child, or try to personify it. But
how do you think about it?
I don't know. I don't really.
How do you not think about never? I mean, you don't have to think about it every day, but like, how do you place that in your mind? And
it was just a cool, fun, awesome moment.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. Just keep it moving. All right. Well, let's keep it moving.
I don't really think of it as like it was the #1. I don't know. I just don't think about things that in that way. I genuinely don't. Like, it was great. I enjoyed it. I really liked it. It was great to see people react to that. But there are other things that I create that maybe aren't #1 that I like more or can enjoy more or get more creatively out of. So I don't know. It's just like I don't measure it as the #1 greatest thing that's happened to me, even though it did change my life and I loved the experience very much. But I don't know. I don't think about it.
All right. Well, we're sitting here. It's the end of the summer, 2018. Let's focus on the new stuff, right? How about that? You got Tiger on this record, and I thought this was I mean, he's having a heck of a summer. We were talking on stage, but I heard you on some radio show in LA talking about how you've known Tiger since you were 19.
Yeah, I've known him.
How did you
since I
two
was
first
19.
meet?
We met in a studio writing.
No way.
But he wasn't writing anything with me, and I wasn't writing anything with him. I was writing with some of my friends who were writing for Carrie Hilson, just writing demos and stuff in a writer's camp for Carrie Hilson, and they wanted me to come in and help give them ideas. So I did. And I don't remember the day that I met him. He does. I just remember that I met Carrie Hilson that day. She would never remember that. I don't even think we spoke any words. She just walked in the studio, and I was like, oh my God.
It's like Pretty Girl Rock. It's like Knock You Down, Carrie
Well, that
Hilson.
Pretty Girl Rock didn't exist yet.
Oh,
Pretty Girl
wow.
Rock was written in that camp at that time period.
No way.
That happened. Pretty Girl Rock happened within
I wasn't a part of Pretty Girl Rock,
Right.
but it happened within that camp at that time. But that was like right before that era of all that music that she put out. And I guess he was in there with Chris, and they started writing Fan of a Fan, but he remembers like what I was wearing and stuff about that day. And I'm like, okay, I believe you. I remember that day because I had gone to a basketball game, and I had gone to see the Lakers play, and it was the first time I'd ever gone to a basketball game. So I remembered what I was wearing because I was like probably overdressed for a basketball game. I was really excited to be going and seeing the Lakers and seeing Kobe. I was really, really excited. So I remember what I was wearing because of that. And he remembers, I don't know why he remembers. Maybe because I'm like a gigantic blonde girl that's like writing rap songs. It's memorable.
A little memorable, I'd say.
Yeah, but we weren't close friends after that. But I would see him around, and we had mutual friends. Yeah.
Wound up on the EP.
We had, I guess he's just always been a reoccurring person in my life that kind of like always comes back around, and we always have this like creative energy where we'll play each other's songs and give each other opinions, and I suppose be friends, but I don't know. It just always seemed like we were supposed to collaborate, and we just hadn't. And he had been saying that he had a song idea for, I'm not kidding you, years. I swear to you. He kept telling people that I know that he had a song idea for me and him, and I was like, he's lying. No, he doesn't. He just wants to be around me. But it's not true. He really did have a song idea. He really didn't care about being around me. Oh, I mean, we are friends. Like we have a great time together. But yeah, so I went in the studio with him, and he told me the idea for Cream. He already had his verse written, and I played off his. And then we wrote a lot of different other things together. And he's just great. I don't know. I really like working with him. I like writing on my own, but I really like writing with people too, just because it's fun. I like that atmosphere, and I came up writing in writers' camps and stuff like that for other people or trying to get other records placed. So that's an environment being collaborative that I'm really familiar with and like, not necessarily because I need the help, just that I find it fun, and my friends are all creative people, and I like to get in a room and bounce ideas back and forth. And Tiger's somebody that I just really enjoyed our vibe in the studio, and we stayed in there for maybe like six weeks, like enough that people thought we had some kind of romance going on, like a while. But yeah, it was just really cool. I hope to do more collaborations with him. I think that we kind of work in our energies and sound. I don't know, it just sort of works.
Yeah.
If I were going to do a joint project with anyone, I don't think I am, by the way, but I would probably pick Tiger. I just think we just work together.
Chemistry
really well.
there.
Yeah, I just work.
The platonic chemistry. Let's make that clear,
Yeah,
right?
platonic chemistry. I don't know. It's just he just makes good like strip clubs, grimy sounding. Like our cadence is similar, and then we're good together because we do have like a deep, long, withstanding friendship. So I don't know. There's just something about. There's some sort of weird, like, unspoken understanding you have with somebody, and I only know maybe 2 or 3 people in these shoes when you know someone before you have any sort of fame or notoriety, and they don't either, and you kind of experience or go through something together, like almost like walking through the fire kind of thing. Like they've experienced and you have too, and there's very few people that understand what life was like before and then what life is like after. And I have friends that have seen me experience that, but they don't have their own celebrity or fame, so they're still looking at things from outside in a way. So there are very few people that firsthand experience that and know you and can relate on that level, and Tiger's one of them. There's maybe only 2 or 3 other people like that I know. So I just think when we're writing together, it works so well, even though this song, Cream, isn't necessarily about any of those experiences. It just makes it easier to open up to that person or to have a connection or dialogue where you feel like they're really understanding what it is that you're trying to convey because they have experienced it and they understand.
Yeah.
So I would pick him if I were going to, but
going
I'm not. But
Exactly.
if I was, I'd be that guy.
We'd be here for it regardless.
I think it'd be cool.
I saw you talking to LA Radio, and you were saying about you were going over like the worst DMs you've ever gotten, right? And I
Yeah.
can't even imagine the level of terrible DMs that you received. But you did say something that caught my ear, that you are open to DMs if they're the right DMs. So I thought what would be fun here.
I don't know. It's gone so bad since I said that. I wish I never said that. The day after I said that, I promise you now, every day my DM's like, so I heard. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
But you know what?
Kill me. Why did I say that? I take it back. I'm not.
If you were.
I thought I was, but I wasn't.
I want the list from you, step 1, 2, 3, for like the perfect DM to Iggy.
Do not do it.
Really?
Just
The DMs are
don't.
closed now.
Stop. I just don't want it. I just don't. Please
is
don't.
great.
Please don't.
Don't. Okay. Well, we're not going to do that fun game. I have one more thing I want to do before we turn it over to the fans, because we have so many fans here. It's amazing. We have fans sitting down with microphones, it looks like. Don't use that yet. But, you know, you remember the old show, like, Making the Video on MTV? They take you behind the scenes of, like, a music video, right?
Mm-hmm.
We love the Cream video. But I want to go behind the scenes of a video you posted, and I'm sure you know where I'm going with this one.
I'm like, yep, that's a plane with chicken.
So,
I was trying to twerk, but it just was like, it's just not going to work.
so where's the initial idea come from? You're like, this chicken's amazing.
Clearly, there's no thought to what I'm doing. I don't like make a mood board and do this. I was just on my way back from a show, and KFC specifically is always on my rider, and sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. It depends where I am in the world. And I was in my stage costume because we had been doing a state fair that was outside. So we walked off the stage and we got straight into the car. So that's why I was still in a state of undress, because I'm in a state of undress on stage. So it's in my stage costume now, lack thereof. And my best friend, Allie, whose hands you can see, she got on the plane. She was like, "Iggy, we have chicken!" And it just happened.
You know where this chicken would go great?
I thought I would have more of an ability to have balance, but
I thought it would stay up there.
yeah, it's harder than it looks. I couldn't.
There you
That was
go.
all I could do.
Somebody make a tutorial, all right?
It's the most of my skill level. Yeah.
All right, well, like I said, we have all these amazing fans. Let's turn it over to them.
Okay.
First question is going to come right up front, very close.
Hello.
Iggy, what gave you a boost in starting your music business?
A boost, like in confidence?
Like, just like what made you start like the music business?
Oh, what made me start? You know what? I think what really made me get into music was that I had a sister. I still have a sister. She's younger than me. She's 2 or 3 years younger than me. And I come from a really small town, and most people, they play sports where I come from. It's the same way for a lot of people that are from small places that don't have a lot to do. You kind of play sports, and that's like the thing to do, right? And I used to try, I loved soccer. I loved soccer, but I had this sister who was just so naturally athletic that anything I would try, she would see me doing it and enjoying it, and she would try it, and she'd automatically be way better than me. Like, oh, I'm national. Oh, I'm the #1 sprinter. Oh, I'm everything my little sister would do. She would just beat me at all of that.
She would have had that chicken up there like for 30 minutes.
Just, I'm so glad my sister doesn't rap, maybe. Well, no, because this is where I'm going with this, actually. I would beat my sister at rapping because I think when I was younger, if I'm being honest, I was jealous of my sister because I would try so hard and I would practice so hard, and she would just come in and she would just effortlessly swipe it from me. And I just wanted something for myself that I could have and that I could be great at. And I'm good at words. I was okay at them. I wasn't great at them. But I was like, maybe I could write songs and that could be my thing, since she's so good at like all the physical stuff. Maybe I could like have words. That could be my special thing. And I just got really into writing, and I felt like it just became like my thing in the family that I was the best at and that I felt good about, and that nobody kind of like was competing with me at, and I just got really good at it. It made me feel really good, and I would still go and watch my sister and cheer her on, and she had her thing and then I had mine. Mine became music.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you remember like would you ever practice rapping? Like you remember the first rap song you knew all the
I
words
used to
to?
practice and get booed all the time.
What was the first
So
song you
much.
like
I still get booed.
memorized the lyrics to?
It's okay because I make a lot of money. So
There you go.
So
Keep
right.
booing.
so right.
Lots of money. No.
Yeah, it's okay. Everyone's not always gonna like what you do. You know what I mean? But yeah, and everybody didn't always like my rapping, and they still don't. You know, but it wasn't about everybody else. It was something that I did because it made me happy. And so I don't know why, I just believed in myself so much, even though everybody would tell me, you're not gonna be able to do this. This is crazy. You don't look like a rapper. You're from Australia. Like, it's never gonna work. You can write songs. Why don't you just write pop songs or try to sing? Well, I can't really sing very well, you know? But I wanted to rap. That's what I love. I like rap music. I don't want to be a pop singer. I need to write. So I don't know why. I just believed so much that it would happen. But I really do think like you can will things into existence.
Definitely.
It's real. And you can will your own failure into existence too if you don't believe it. And so I don't know. I just believed it so much and I loved it so much that it didn't matter to me what anybody else said.
Definitely.
And then when I got famous really quickly, it did matter to me. It got to me. And I think I started to not look in the mirror all the time and believe it the way that I believed it before for so long. And I think you don't realize how long it takes you to actually build up that much confidence in your own self. It takes years for you to say it that many times until you believe it. And when it goes away, it just doesn't automatically come back. So it was like everybody wanted me to be this person that had it taken me years to be that confident. And I just couldn't immediately be that again. It took years, but how I started was just saying it and really believing it and not caring what anybody else thought. And it's okay if you do sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get to you, but you just got to say it and believe it and not listen to other people. And as long as you can do that, you will be successful eventually and have perseverance.
It's great advice,
Yeah.
Iggy. Let's get to our second young journalist up front. Oh, I'm sorry. It'll come from over here.
Hi. Who is your biggest like collaboration dream that you'll have?
That I would like to collaborate with?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? It's funny because I never really think about collaborations in that way. I like to like just organically collaborate with people that are in my vicinity. So I feel like I get asked not necessarily who I want to collaborate with, but things like, who are the producers on your album? And my answer's, I don't know if you've noticed, usually like my friend, some random guy, like a kid in the parking lot. Like, I don't know. That's the way I like to work. Like, I just like to work with whatever organically happens, because I think that's how the best things in life happen. Just things that you don't like force too much, things that just happen of like organicness is the best thing. So I don't know. I really don't think about that too much. Someone that I do know that I like is Katy Perry, but things are so not pop at the moment. I don't know how that would work, but I've always liked Katy and thought that we should collaborate. And I always kind of felt like Black Widow should have been her singing it since she was involved in that song, kind of coming to fruition. But I feel like there's a collaboration there with her maybe that exists that hasn't happened yet that I'd like to see happen. But I really don't like to think too much about people that I don't know and wanting to like reach out. Like people will say to me all the time about other people, why don't you reach out to blah blah and get it? And it's just like, I don't know, because it's weird, because I just want to work with my friends. And I don't know, if you're not someone that I'm just sitting around with writing a song or that I think of that I know, then it's probably, I don't want to like have a manager send off an email. I don't know. I just think
Feels cold.
Yeah, it works for some people, but for me, I prefer not to.
Yeah. How did Katy help with Black Widow? I never heard that story.
Well, she wrote the chorus of the song with like 6 other people, and it was originally intended for her album, but she had Dark Horse, which was really similar to Black Widow. And so she ended up picking Dark Horse for her album, and she sent me Black Widow, and she was like, hey, could you write a verse on this song? Because I want it to be like a girl power song, and I want to put like 4 other girls on it and have them singing, and could you rap? And I was like, yeah. So I originally wrote a verse for it, thinking that she would keep it for her album and that's what would happen. And then nothing ever happened with the song. And I asked her, what's happening with Black Widow? I really liked that. I really liked the song. Like, what are you doing with it? And she told me, no, I'm going with this other thing, Dark Horse. So I was like, can I have it? Can I have it? Can I have it? Because I just was really attached to like my verse and the idea of the whole thing. And she said to me, I'm not going to tell you that you can have it, but write the song and send it back to me. And if I'm, basically think it's good enough to let it go, I'll let it go and live its life with you. And I wrote those verses over like 5 or 6 times over the course of days because I might not have got to keep the song. And I sent it to her and she was like, yes, this is cool. You have my blessing. It's your song. And I wish that she had stayed on it, but she didn't stay on it. And so I got Rita to fill in her shoes because she's a great singer. But
Yeah.
I feel like there's a collaboration there that should still happen at some point in time.
Yeah, for sure. You see Rita last night?
No, I didn't see her.
Yeah, there's a lot of people there. All right, now I think it's time for our young journalist.
Okay.
What's your name?
Olivia.
Olivia, what's your question for Iggy?
Hi, how old were you when you started singing?
I was probably 13 or 14 when I started singing, about to be 14. I think because I rap and it's so much about words and rhyming together and like poetry and things like that, really, when you think of it, I didn't really start to get very good at that or very interested in that until I got into high school and that started to be a subject. And I really discovered that I liked that at that age when I was able to put words together and stuff like that. But before that, I always really liked making music videos. My mom had a camera and I would take it and I would remake all my favorite music videos. I would make my own versions to them. And all my favorite films, I would make my own versions to them as well and recreate them. So it's funny that it worked out that I became a singer or a songwriter or a rapper because I always had the interest in the visual thing. And then when I started to be able to make my own videos and songs and stuff like that, I was like, this is the perfect thing for me.
Yeah. What videos would you recreate?
Destiny's Child.
Okay.
Survivor. I have a video to that at my grandma's house still. Al Pacino, Dog Day Afternoon. I remade that movie for my dad for Father's Day. All kinds of weird random things. But yeah. Dog Day Afternoon, my recreation was my biggest achievement because I made a mini city out of that. And I was like, this looks real. This is my wide shot of the bank when he rubs the bank. I don't know. I had a lot of free time.
Oh my gosh, that would be like Throwback Thursday gold if you were posted those.
I was the meanest director because I had a stepsister and then I had my sister, and so I was never in the videos. I was always the person behind the camera telling them what to do, but making the scenarios. And so I've watched them as an adult, and I'm just in the background saying really mean stuff all the time, like, no, that's not. I just was the meanest. I was the worst. I would have hated to have been my sister. And I guess it's kind of, I am very heavily involved in all of the things creatively that I do still. But yeah, man, I wouldn't have wanted to live in a house with me because you would have been forced to be in all my videos. Yeah.
We have time now for one final fan question.
Well, hi. Well, now that I know you used to make music videos, what inspires you to make music videos now? And
now?
Your broad.
I just love all kinds of visual things, but I think the most inspirational thing for me and what makes me want to keep doing it is just thinking about, I guess, escapism. For me, I loved watching music videos when I was a kid because it was my chance to escape from my reality, and I didn't really know where the line was in music videos between reality and fiction, and I liked that. I was from Australia, so I didn't know, is this a world that exists in America where people dress this way or where people act this way, or do people really have this level of opulence or things? And regardless of where you're from, I still think that it's like just a really cool thing to think about people being able to watch my videos or me be able to create something that can have that effect on people that watch my work. I want to keep doing that and creating that for other people so that they can wonder the same thing, and maybe they'll make music videos. But it's just about like keeping it going. That's what keeps me doing
and
it.
paying it forward, like you just said.
Yeah, paying it forward for sure.
Totally. Of course, this is an EP. In closing here, is there a larger body of work? Probably a question you're getting everywhere.
Yeah, there is, but it doesn't exist. But it will exist. I'm going home today, and I'm going to start working on it when I get home. I just get like so tunnel vision into what I'm doing. Like when I'm in the studio, I'll be in the. I usually start at 2:00 in the afternoon, and then I'm supposed to only have 12-hour sessions, so I would go 2 to 2. But I really don't. I'll go 2:00 in the afternoon till like 11:00 in the morning. And I'll be in there until my engineer says, like, Iggy, honestly, I'm just gonna die. Like, I can't tell the difference in what we're listening to. I'm tired. Then I'll go home. But I think that work ethic comes from me starting writing with other people and not being an artist, and kind of like the rule, which funnily enough, when I write with other people, doesn't seem to be the rule anymore, because people will be like, I'm tired, I'm going home. And I always say when they leave, I'll be like, can you believe that they just went home? Like, I would never in my day go home. And I wouldn't, though, because it was just the way that not even my choice, but that's just the way that it was. Like, you came, you wrote with a bunch of people, and you didn't go to sleep, and you were never the one to pick your hand up and leave first. And sometimes we would stay for days and days, and you would sleep when you could while other people were writing. And if you weren't writing, then you weren't getting publishing, and you were not getting a percentage of anything. So you would be awake, trying to give your ideas to be a part of that and earn your respect as a writer. And so for me, it's just, I just stay for so long because I just that's what I come from. That's my work ethic still, even though now I'm the boss and I can call it quits when I want to. I don't know, it's ingrained in me that I stay and I work like that. I'll go home and sleep for 3 or 4 hours, and then I'll be back doing it again for weeks and weeks or days and days, as much as my schedule will allow. So I don't really like to get started on a project, even when projects don't release. Like, I have so many little things that people will think, like, this is an album that's been 4 years in the making. It's not. I've probably made like 4 different projects and then trashed and then start again, trash, start again. But once I get going on an idea or a vibe, I can't really like separate myself from it, especially mentally. It's like I just don't want to do anything else. I don't want to go on dates with guys. I don't want to go to the movies. I don't want to do live shows. I just want to do that thing until it's done and out of me. And I really have a lot of ideas in the back of my mind about my album, and I just don't even want to open up the Pandora's box until I have the time to like really sit there for at least a good 3 or 4 weeks and get a big portion of it sorted out. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to start that tomorrow. So I don't know. Maybe I hope I don't go into hiding. But I'm going to start. And
if we don't hear from you, we know why now.
You'll know why, yeah.
All right, well, Iggy, thank you so much for stopping by, guys.